Here is our Black Desert Online review. Hey Pushpins, welcome back to another video. Black Desert Online has been around since 2015, and it's still one of the most popular, massively multiplayer online role-playing games of today, achieving so much success on the PC platform alone that it ended up spawning mobile and console ports, as well as went on and even dedicated paid editions in some region that brought a great deal of profits. The game features a sandbox world filled with endless streams of content, competent with gorgeous graphics based on a Western fantasy aesthetic and action-packed gameplay, which is positively comparable to a hack-and-slash games, thanks to its depth and combo potential. The game has a large dedicated player base and appears absolutely beautiful from a distance, but there are several open-world multiplayer games that have a large player base and tons of content, but the reviews for them are divided due to unpolished gameplay and too many technical issues, such as Rust, Scum, and Ark Survival Evolved, to name a few. So, with that in mind, does Black Desert Online deserve all the hype it gets, or is it something that you should avoid for one of the many other MMORPGs on the market? Let's find out in Gaming Pushpin's Honest Review. Do you want to win any of the items you see on your screen? All you have to do is watch the whole video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. Good luck! The basics. Black Desert Online has a very basic premise, as it does not focus on the story aspect much, only using a bit of basic lore for the world building. It takes place in a fantasy setting, which is at first peaceful, but after the Black Death Plague kills a large amount of the population, politics within the nations over greed begins to tear them apart and eventually cause massive war that lasted 30 years. The alliances that were formed in the war fade away and now constantly try to cut each other off. There's not much to go with here, because while the game offers multiple story quests, the only purpose they really serve is to get you going into what you can consider a tour of the game's very large world, and give it some personality. The main fun of the game comes from the sandbox mechanics and the freedom of gameplay, so you can practically forget the story exists at all and just immerse yourself in the self-made narratives and head canons. The gameplay. The one thing that greatly sets Black Desert Online apart is the fact that it features very proper hack-and-slash gameplay, which means a combat system that requires precise aiming, dodging, parrying, and the use of other combos is present and essential for the player to learn and execute. Unlike other MMORPG games, which feature tabs or buttons with cooldowns, everything that happens here is real-time, and since it was not originally developed with mobiles in mind, the scale of the game is massive and in-depth. The game has a massive player versus player events as well, and raid events, where players can join each other and take on a large threat. At the same time, the normal quests where you can fight the enemies by yourself are still there and just as fun. When you aren't fighting, there are things to do such as finding animals and taming them so that you can use them for travel and combat. And you can breed different mounts to have more specific animals at your disposal. They need to be fed and cared for, and can even be permanently killed. So you have to take good care of your mounts that you consider important. The sandbox element of the game comes in the form of a dynamic world with changing weather, a day and night cycle, NPCs acting differently based on the time of day, and even the quests that you can change based on whether or not you're trying to start them. The weather even causes additional changes, such as typhoons affecting your gameplay, or fog, making it hard to see surprise attacks, so it's not all just for show. There are 20 different player classes, and all of them have a great deal of unlockable abilities and skills. There's hundreds of hours of content in the game's large open world that you can get busy with, and there's a great deal of customization that changes your experience vastly from the other players. You can craft a lot of resources, you can skin animals that you hunt, you can plant crops, and even go fishing. Black Desert Online is a clear winner in the gameplay department, and is one of the most unique games of its kind, thanks to its focus on making the combat realistic. Graphics and polish. The graphics of Black Desert Online get praised even by people who do not like the game in general. The world is beautifully crafted and is populated by greatly detailed character models, different types of terrain, and a fantasy art style that is a treat for the eyes. Thanks to its sandbox structure, the game allows you to freely travel to every single part of the gorgeously detailed world, and you can spend hours simply just enjoying the exploration. But that's not to say that the exploration is something forced upon you, as the world is filled with enemies, mounts, and quests that you can indulge in. So, whatever you feel like doing, it's there, and it looks absolutely stunning. There are plenty of games that offer a world just as big as Black Desert Online's, but it does not really mean that there is a great one by default, because the polish of the gameplay, graphics, and animations makes a big difference in the overall quality. Luckily for us, Pearl Abyss has done a marvelous job in the polishing department, and it really brings everything together. As the game is not only very well made in the graphics and gameplay aspects, it even offers ridiculous detail that you would usually expect only from single-player games. Even your house interiors are customizable, and you can craft your own items to decorate them with. Even things as simple as a sword hanging on your back reacts realistically to your movement. The game definitely screams AAA, and you can tell that they did not have the mobile expansions in mind originally due to the uncompromising scale of the product. Every single animation is flashy and well made with proper motion capture, and the visual factor is amazing to look at. Sound. The soundtrack for Black Desert Online is an odd mix of generic and breathtakingly fresh. A lot of the background music is what you'd expect to hear from most games set in the same time period as BDO, but not much innovation, just about enough quality to not get repetitive. There's a few tunes that set themselves apart, such as the loading theme, Serenia Riding, and Vilia Busker, themes for example. But the majority, such as the main theme and most of the battle themes, are something you won't be particularly remembering. That being said, even the generic music is still decent and does its job as the background music to great gameplay. It's just nothing to write home about. For what it's worth, looking at how many tracks it does have that are quite unique, it tries harder in the sound department than most other games of its type. The general sound effects are really good too, and only add to your immersion thanks to realistic and well-made sound effects. They are on par with most single-player action-adventure games, and every single hit feels like it really landed. The voice acting is particularly good too, which is surprising for a game of its kind. So, while there's not much of a story to go with, the dialogue that has been voiced is surprisingly good. Final verdict. Black Desert Online is like a combination of an extremely polished single-player hack-and-slash adventure game and the best parts of what makes an MMO so addicting. And the end product is a game that will take hundreds of hours of your time and leave you feeling like that's still not enough. The game is full of amazing combat, beautiful graphics, and a giant sandbox world that lets you make your own story as you have the freedom to do anything that you'd like. It may be lacking in terms of a pre-existing story, but due to the fact that you can even play the game like a life simulation game when you're not partaking in the combat, just gives it endless potential of forming your own personal stories within its world, and that makes up for this missing factor. It's not the best choice as a game for people who want a traditional MMORPG experience, but for people daring to try something a bit different, BDO should be the next game on their list. With everything in calculation, our final score for Black Desert Online is a solid 8 out of 10. Why does Black Desert Online deserve such a high score? Because it's a very addictive game that does not get repetitive at any turn, has the quality of a AAA open-world action-adventure game, but the online features of an MMO. It's a complete package that is filled with endless content, and whether you play it solo or go on adventures with your friends, it will be an equally fun experience that will not feel like a waste of your time. And when you're done with the combat for the time being, you can simply go fishing or craft items for your house or skin animals and sell them for money, or breed certain mounts and bring new species of animals to the world. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes Black Desert Online such a fun experience. And that's a wrap on our Black Desert Online review. Do you like the game? Did we rate it too high or too low in your opinion? Let us know your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Gaming Pushpins for more gaming content and some of our other reviews. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.